Negroland, a 1700s map of Africa. On this map, the area known as the Slave Coast is also known as the Kingdom of Judah or Ouida. An 1800s French book called The Languedocian Society of Geography explains that the Kingdom of Judah or Ouida was given its name by Portuguese slavers during the Inquisition, and that its citizens were indeed considered to be a remnant of the scattered tribes of Israel. Why the different names? A 1700s book called The Nouveau Seguin reads that I find this country is called Fida by the Dutch, Judah by the French, and Ouida by the English, Portuguese, and natives. A 1558 map of Africa by Sanudo identifies another location in the center of Africa written in Latin, and when translated, this location was known as the land of the Jews, setting up the future fulfillment of prophecy that the Messiah would gather much of Israel from the continent of Africa. Wake up. There's an 1800s book called Mission from Cape Coast Castle to Ashanti. On their mission to the Kingdom of Ashanti, they mention a place in the region called Yehudi, a place of great trade. Another 1800s book called An Account of Timbuktu and Hausa mentions that this same area called Yehudi was plenteous with gold, so plenteous that this area of Ashanti was also called the Gold Coast. What does Yehudi mean? Here's a quote. This place is reported to be inhabited by one of the lost tribes of Israel, possibly an immigration from the tribe of Judah. Yehuda in African Arabic signifies Judah. Yehudi signifies Jew. This source goes on to say that it is not impossible that many of the lost tribes of Israel may be found dispersed in the interior regions of Africa. In addition, the source states that it is certain that some of the nations that possessed the country east of Palestine when the Israelites were a favored nation have immigrated to Africa. The Igbos, who've been officially identified as descendants of ancient Israel, have a rich oral history. According to the Jewish Virtual Library, there are several so-called lost tribes among the Igbos. They are B'nai Gad, descendants of Gad, B'nai Zebulun, descendants of Zebulun, and B'nai Manasseh, descendants of Manasseh, while others have traditions of descending from the tribes of Levi, Dan, Naphtali, and Asher. The decline of the Hebrew communities of West Africa can be traced to the arrival of Muslim invaders in the 14th and 15th centuries. Many were forced to convert to Islam, sold into slavery, or simply massacred. In the face of this persecution, written traditions such as the Torah were lost. What percentage of the transatlantic slave trade were Igbos? Researchers estimate between 30 to 45% of the imported slaves were from the Bight of Biafra. Of these people, 80% were likely Igbos. According to this 1800s book, during the Spanish Inquisition in year 1501, Queen Isabella of Spain sent colonies of Spanish-born Negro slaves to the Dominican Republic, attempting to convert the native population to the Catholic religion. After the natives did not convert to Catholicism, almost 90% of the indigenous population was destroyed, according to Christopher Columbus. Who were the colonies of Spanish-born Negroes brought to the island of Hispaniola or modern-day Dominican Republic? According to a book called Nature Knows No Color Line, the Jew, the Negro, the Portuguese, and Spanish were considered to be one people. This book goes on to say that so dark were the Jews, especially of Portugal and southern Spain, that many whites thought all Jews were black. During the Spanish and Portuguese Inquisition, millions of black Jews were sold from Africa as slaves worldwide by the permission of the Pope, fulfilling prophecy that Judah would be scattered to the four corners of the earth and would be least among the people. As a result of the Inquisition, we see Judah today depicted in South America as Afro-Brazilian, Afro-Colombians, Afro-Argentines, Afro-Peruvians, Afro-Venezuelans, Afro-Chileans, Afro-Ecuadorians, and Afro-Bolivians. In Central America, it's Afro-Panamanians, Afro-Costa Ricans, Afro-Nicaraguans, Afro-Hondurans, Afro-Salvadorians, Afro-Guatemalans, Afro-Belizean, and in North America, it's Afro-Mexicans, Afro-Americans, Afro-Cubans, and more. In every one of those nations, they are considered to be the least among the people. The Messiah states clearly that the least among the nations are his brethren, and that the nations of the world will be judged according to how they treated them. Wake up. During the Spanish Inquisition, black Jews were forced to wear a conical hat called the capirote during auto de fe ceremonies as a sign of complete humiliation. Auto da fe was a public display of extreme torture and ended many times with the burning at the stake of the black Jews, all sponsored by the Pope and the Catholic Church. When the Inquisition was abolished, the capirote was kept as a symbol of punishment and penitence and can be seen today during what they call Holy Week, worn only by special fraternity members in Spain and its former colonies in the Americas. Is it a coincidence that the same capirote was adopted by another Christian group known as the KKK and used to publicly humiliate, torture, and burn at the stake the black Jewish descendants of the same people who were persecuted during the Spanish Inquisition? He that hath an ear to hear, let him hear.